Good evening and welcome to another episode of a Migrant's Journey. This is episode number 34. We have had 33 amazing stories so far. I highly recommend for you to, go head on to my YouTube channel and check it out. That's almost 16 hours worth of binging. I highly recommend you all do. There are a lot of golden advices and tips in each of the episodes, and each journey is different. So I highly recommend to go through it. If you're watching this for the first time, a migrant's journey is set up to share migrant stories. When you think about migration to any developed country, we think it's all rosy, it's a dream come true, but most of the time the initial few months is a real struggle, especially when it comes to job. It's mostly due to difference in expectations and difference in culture. So my idea with these series and these stories is to bridge a gap so that you're better prepared if you're looking to migrate, or if you're already migrated in Australia. Let's hopefully by listening to these stories you can make a better decision, or prepare yourself better in coming year. If you're watching this live on LinkedIn or you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment or say hi, hello, good evening. The more noise you make, the more people it reaches to, the more people it helps, and eventually it makes me happier as well. So that's just an added perk, but I highly recommend to make some noise. So please do that. Today we have Minu with us, so let's get straight into the discussion. Hi, Minu.
Hello,
How are you?
how are you?
Good,
I'm
good.
good. You?
So let's go straight into things. Who are you, Minu, and what do you do?
So I am I'm from India. So I'll
Yeah.
just start it informally. I'm from India. I'm from south of India,
Hmm.
and I came to Australia like in 2017.
Hmm.
So I came here to study, and I completed my Master of Business IT from RMIT University.
Hmm.
And yeah, right now I'm in a role. It's kind of like a new upcoming role. It's marketing automation
Okay.
focused and marketing. Yeah, so my role is marketing automation and data specialist. I
Okay.
work with realestateview.com.au.
Hmm.
So it's number three in the digital real estate portal. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Awesome.
been
Thanks. So
that's it.
we'll probably talk about what marketing automation is all about, because that's something I've not heard, but we'll get to that
Yeah.
later. Now,
Sure.
let's get into the beginning, straight from the beginning. When you
Mhm.
decided that you're moving to Australia for studies, of course,
Mhm.
did you make any preparations at all? I usually hear that international students just come over here and then figure things out. What was your story? Did you prepare anything?
So I always wanted to study. It was always there in the back of my head, like so. But I wanted to choose a course which I found personally interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I graduated. I did my bachelor's. I completed in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for a couple of years in India.
Mm-hmm.
Got a touch of how things work and to understand what I'm really interested in. So my role back in India was in ERP specialist, like
Mm-hmm.
analyst. So after that I wanted to like move into the business side, but I liked IT too.
Yeah.
So then I came across all these courses, and yeah, then I decided that, so Australia was by chance. I was more interested in going to Singapore,
Okay.
but then yeah, then I found Australian university is also good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I decided. Yeah, I mean, coming here and figuring things out, it was also go with the flow. So
So you are one among them who did not prepare anything.
in the preparation in the sense that I decided to move here in Jan 2017,
Hmm.
and I came here in June 2017. So
Okay. So
yeah.
yeah, not much time to prepare at all. So
No, I just knew that the weather here is completely opposite. Like it's in the southern hemisphere, so I
yeah,
was prepared for that,
yeah.
but I wasn't prepared for anything else.
So how was your first few weeks or months like? With regards to culture. Let's get into the job search and the studies part. That I'll ask a follow-up question, but
Mhm.
in terms of culture and weather and everything of that sort, how was your first couple of weeks like?
The day I landed, I landed in Australia, in Melbourne, actually, in the morning at 6 o'clock. And my God, it was such a windy day. It was, it was like horrible windy. And
Mhm.
when I came out of the airport, like my luggage was flying away from me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what a welcome. And yeah, so adjusting to the cold weather, which you're not used to much in India, especially in South India.
Mhm,
So I guess that was like a jolt.
mhm,
And I don't remember getting adjusted to anything other than the weather for the first month or so. But then, yeah, uni kept me on very busy.
mhm,
So it was like always going to classes and meeting people. So in uni, in my course especially, there was a lot of international students. So we got taste in all these events we went to in the uni. Like there's a
mhm,
lot of events happening every day or every week. There's so much happening.
mhm.
So got interacted. It was nice actually. Everybody was very welcoming, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah, even but the one thing is that I was like, so I grew up in Mumbai, so I felt when I came here, this is not a city because there was so less people
True that.
everywhere.
True that.
Yeah, one thing I really liked is that everybody on the street would smile and say, "Hey, how going?" That was really nice.
Yeah.
That felt very welcoming.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah.
was nice and overwhelming for me, as in I kind of didn't know what to say when people say hi, how are you? I mean, random strangers say hi, how are you?
Yes.
And people as well. I mean, I think after eight you won't hear anything. I mean, it's dead silent. Even if you're in the city, you won't hear much outside, which is
True.
kind of hard to adjust to, especially if you're from Mumbai. You know, it's a whole different world out there. What about studies? I mean, the way education works over here is completely different from what we are used to, especially in India, right? So,
Yeah.
few words on that. You know, if someone is
Sure.
planning to come over here, you know, what would be good to know?
Yeah, so good to know is that so depending on how which course you're doing. So if you're doing an MS or like a course which is more business focused like mine, it's completely different. So each
Which was your
course,
course, by the way?
business IT.
Okay.
So I did masters in business IT.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like IT related business,
Hmm.
business from a perspective of IT. So
Hmm.
uh, in these courses it is more like you learn so much about what is happening. It's more practical
Hmm.
than back in India. It's more focused on students and their learning,
Hmm.
and it's basically like you have 12 weeks of sprints.
Hmm.
You're just running
Hmm.
3 months, you finish a semester.
Yeah.
So it's extremely busy, you don't get time,
Okay.
and there are not many exams.
Hmm.
But even if there are some exams, they're like open book. But yeah, the way you study is completely different. So back in India, even if you're doing engineering, most people like I have studied in the last few days of the exam and passed.
I think that's most people, not just you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's how we are
Yeah.
back there.
Absolutely.
But here it's completely different. So you have to keep up. You have to go, even if you don't go to class, you have to keep up with the assignments. There's due dates, deadlines for everything, and then there's a lot of group activities, class participation, and basically I enjoyed going to classes because everybody kept it interesting, and there was a lot of anecdotes, and how they engage the class is different. Like the class each, so they have a lot of tutorials for each subject, so you choose according to the class you want to go to, and that will be usually a group of 20 students at the max.
Hmm.
So you get a lot of personalized attention,
Hmm.
and you can ask questions, and the interaction levels are very high.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you get a lot of knowledge,
Ah,
I would say, and it's a very good immersive experience.
awesome. Now, yeah, I think one thing that you won't get is spoon feeding. You have to kind of make your way
True.
out of here. So, on that aspect, let's come to the job search side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again,
Yeah,
a
sure.
completely different scene compared to what we do in India. India, you probably get through campus placement or something of that sort of, which is kind of non-existent over here. So, at what point did you think about getting a job, or did you do any activities in your first year or your second? So, at what point did you start, seriously looking for a job?
Yes, so that was one of the places where I felt I did something wrong. Like I could have started earlier. Like not a wrong thing, but then yeah, it would have been a like
Yeah.
easier way to get a job initially. So there's if you're coming here as an international student,
Hmm.
each university has a lot of events where you meet potential
Yeah.
employers. Sorry,
Hmm.
correction. So in those experiences, you get to meet a lot of people, and they tell you advices. So it's not like there's a notion that you only get jobs if you are a PR here.
Yeah.
permanent resident here.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. Like if they really like you, they will take you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think there's also a notion that you have to be very active in clubs, or you have to be in the board members of clubs and stuff and be active in those scene if you need to get a job. But that's also not true, right?
So it depends. So, like for me, I had experience back home.
Hmm.
Like I had some experience, but if you're a bachelor, like you're coming here to do your graduation,
Hmm.
undergraduation, you need to be really active because
Yeah.
they try to see where you have experience.
Hmm.
Like what can you bring more than
Yeah.
just your academics?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weightage. Like it depends on how you play along with it. Like some people don't have any experience, but they can talk about how active they are or
Absolutely.
how interactive they are. That also helps.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
it's
So
depending on your own
yeah,
situation.
absolutely. So coming on to the events aspect of it, some people don't understand how that works. They think, you go for an event, you ask for a job, and you kind of get a job. That's kind of not the way it works. I mean, in
Right.
general, networking, that's not the way it works. It's not like you connect to someone on LinkedIn and you can ask a job and they'll go out of ways to help you, right? So
True.
what is it that you do when you go for these events, or what is it that you did when you went for these events?
So you just have to like talk to. Sorry, it's like the interest to get to know the other person
Hmm.
better. That actually like not like a fake interest. Like
Hmm.
you're actually genuinely interested in what they do, and knowing more. So in interest will talk, like even small talk can help. So you don't, if you go up to a person and just ask them for a job, it is not nice,
Hmm.
and they're not going to probably remember you, or
Yeah.
if at all they'll remember you in a not a good way.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a positive impression, it's basically just talking to them, asking their advice.
Hmm.
uh, if you're doing something wrong, they can actually guide you in the right way.
Yeah.
So basically just talking about common interests and things like that. I know it's like it's very hard to go up to some total
Hmm.
stranger and just talk. Yeah, but in all these events, that's the difference. So in a employment expo or meetup at a uni, they already are aware that students are more interested in getting a job, so they will be talking on that point.
Hmm.
And then you can talk if there's a discussion where one of the recruiter is talking, and you can probably ask them questions later which
Hmm.
makes sense
Hmm.
and which is related to what they spoke.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So,
there's a lot of.
yeah. So another question that I often get is, universities do not have much support in terms of careers and job fairs and stuff like that. But I also hear the other side saying that there are tons of resources out there, right? I think the major difference is, um, nothing comes to you. You have to seek it out, right? So what,
True.
I mean, you studied at RMIT. How did
Mm.
you seek it out? How can you find these events and meetups that the uni organizes? Because when a uni organizes that, you have a special advantage and you have possibility to get more attention. Just like you said, everyone knows your target is in the end to get a job, unlike general meetups, right? So how do people find, or how do students find these events or get to know about these events?
So every uni actually has this career website,
Hmm.
and that's very updated,
Hmm.
and they keep it up to track because at the end, if there's like most people are saying that they're not getting any jobs after studying from this university, their ranking is probably going to go
Yeah,
low. So
absolutely.
there's a lot of attention in the career space,
Hmm.
and this website will be like updated every day with jobs within the uni for students, and also like internships and all the events that is happening in uni.
Hmm.
So yeah, being actively involved in that website, checking on yourself, and there is always around uni there is always posters about events,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of like keeping your eyes open is basically my
Yeah,
advice.
absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
that's good advice. Now,
Mm.
coming to job search, any very different, or I won't say bad experiences, any very different or learning experience that you had in terms of job search, could be with recruiters or interviews, something very different, so that people are prepared for
Mm, let me think. So yeah, initially, I wouldn't say I had a bad
that. Hmm.
experience because it was like all like I was doing something wrong
Yeah.
initially, right? So that's how I learned.
Hmm.
So the thing is like getting that resume and cover letter ready, because everybody tells their perspective. Trying to understand what is there in the market and doing that was initially where I lacked.
Hmm.
So I was just applying for jobs that I see. So where I thought, okay, this is what I did
Yeah.
before my graduation. So I mean, sorry, before coming to Australia. So I would definitely get this job.
Hmm.
But then those were the ones I got rejected from. So, so which was like kind of like a surprise. But yeah, it was mainly like understanding the whole process, learning, like taking time to understand, and just not like going and applying for 50 jobs on the same day with the same resume and cover letter.
Hmm.
That's a big pitfall, because
Yeah.
you will not hear back from even one of them.
Absolutely. I think that's a
Mm,
common mistake that's done by most migrants.
mm,
Apply, 100 applications a day or 50 applications a day. That's the
mm.
benchmark. I mean, people think the more they do that, the more more hardworking they are, and the more results that will come. But it actually just burns you out in the end, and that's probably not the wisest thing to do.
Yes.
Finally, how did things work out for you? Mind you that, on an international student perspective, where
Mm.
people think that you won't get a job without a PR, you managed to get it, right? So how did things work out for you in the end?
So first, my first interview was also through a networking event. So I went to one of the speed networkings that happened in the CBD,
Hmm.
and like they selected 5 names out of a ball to speak, and I
Oh,
was one of them.
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a startup it was not a startup, it's a like sprung up company from
Mhm.
Europe, and they're starting their office here. So they called me and they asked me if I would like to come and have an interview with them. That went well, but then yeah, unfortunately, at some point we decided it is not the right thing. But yeah, that was like a good experience, because before that I wasn't going to
Mhm.
networking events much, because it was like the hesitation to
Yeah,
go and
absolutely.
talk, you know.
What's
So
the
that
point, right? Yeah.
yes, and then I went to that one first networking event, and it just worked. So it gave me the boost to like put myself out there in a
Mhm.
very uncomfortable situation and see what happens there.
Mhm.
So after that, actually, I the current role I'm working is because through RMIT.
Mhm.
So RMIT had a event with one of the companies, Datarati,
Mhm.
and they came to our uni to teach about, like, they selected a few people,
Mhm.
and we had a automation session, like a boot camp.
Mhm.
So where they taught us all regarding Salesforce.
Mhm.
So basically, my company, Real Estate View, is a client of Tatarati. So
Mhm.
they came to the interview. Like it was not an interview; it was a presentation at the end of
Mhm.
the boot camp, and then they selected me.
Awesome.
So I got it through RMIT. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
uh,
say.
that's good.
Yeah, but
Uh, on the point of paid meetups,
yeah.
most people run away from that. They don't go for it, especially students, especially because they say the money is not worth it, and they don't see value in it, right?
It was not a paid meetup. It
Okay, it was
was a
okay,
free
okay,
meet.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a paid meetup. Okay, different story. Anyways,
Yeah.
so all ended well in the end, even though it was a RMIT, and that was a very interesting interview or selection process, I would say.
Yeah.
Going to a boot camp and giving a presentation. So all those skills will definitely help you. So
Yeah.
any advice that you'd like? I mean, you see your friends out there, probably some are still struggling, but some are out there working, especially international students. So any advice that you'd like to give to any international students or even migrants for that matter? I don't think the struggles are particularly different. So any advice
Mhm.
that you'd like to give to them?
Uh, yes, definitely. So first of all, don't be negative if you don't get it in a few tries. Be positive and learn from what went wrong. Keep an eye open for what went wrong and learn from that and progress further. And always try, like, if you're trying and trying and nothing is working out, maybe it's time to change your tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely talk here, especially many people told me that, many recruiters actually told me that they get a lot of, if they post in Seek or in LinkedIn, they get hundreds and hundreds of resume.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to sit and go through it.
Yeah.
So if you have a connection with them, or if at all, if there's a phone number in that job posting,
Hmm.
then just call them up, talk to them. That would leave a better impression, and people are more likely to come back
Yeah.
because they see that you're going the extra mile that other candidates didn't.
Yeah.
So talking to recruiters and staying connected on LinkedIn, and yeah, something will turn up
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. I think standing out, what are you doing? Something extra that probably hundreds or thousands are not doing. That's key over here. Thanks for sharing that, Minu. Now, last question. You were part of my meetup, I think, in last November. That we were just talking earlier, and time actually flies. I still remember the conversation we had. I mean, we both
Yeah.
were from South India, and we're like, someone is talking Malayalam, and we just jumped onto the conversation.
Yeah.
But what did you think about that event? Especially encouraging people to network and the whole environment. What were your thoughts on that?
It was a nice experience. It was definitely good. I mean, it was also one of those networking events I attended.
Hmm.
So meeting a lot of people, there was like recruiters who were giving advice, and I actually met one recruiter later.
Hmm.
He actually helped me get an interview later, but then
Oh, that's
when
nice.
I got this job, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a really nice experience. It was like taking that step, and there were a lot of people who had just come to Australia there. It was nice to see a lot of people from different backgrounds, and yes, talking to people actually it was interactions
Hmm.
more that meant, and I actually stayed in touch with a few people who were searching for jobs later who are also international students.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was a good experience at all, I
It's
would say.
always good to hear that, some connections or relationships come out of these events. I always
True.
think, I made those true. So that feeling is always special. So thanks for sharing that, Mino. So thank you so much for sharing your story today. I mean, this is another example. I won't say just one. This is another example proving that even if you're an international student, even if you don't have PR, you can get a job. So don't get hogged down by these rumors, which is easy. It's easy saying, okay, I don't have a PR, I won't get a job, so why even try, right? That's not the way it works. So thank you so much for sharing your story again, Minu. If people would like to connect to you for a chat or a conversation, would LinkedIn be the best way to do it?
Yes, LinkedIn is absolutely
Yeah.
best way.
So please reach out to Minu, or if you have any questions on the session, please leave a comment either on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll try to get you back, and if you don't get back, send us a message. If you have an interesting story to share, please reach out to me. I'm looking out for people, different stories that we can share as well. Anything else you'd like to share, Minu, before we wrap up?
Nothing. Yeah. Also, just one thing. Like
Yeah.
my role is very new to the market,
Yeah,
so
missed
keeping
about
an
that.
eye.
So what is
Yeah.
marketing automation about?
So it's basically tech in
Mhm.
marketing. So it's known as mark tech also. So there are a lot of jobs that are not really conventional these
Mhm.
days that are coming up, and that would probably have a higher percentage of career. So being career focused about what is future roles.
Mhm.
So marketing automation is basically how you reach your end users, how can you increase the attraction towards your company.
Mhm.
So that's basically doing all tech work for that. That is my role. And yeah,
Sounds
so
very interesting and sounds very different.
yes.
Yeah.
So yes, there are a lot of roles like that that people should focus on because the world we are living is continuously
Yeah.
changing. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think it will be an advantage if people actually know about what marketing automation is, because if
mhm,
most people don't do it, they don't know
mhm.
what skills are required. So if people are aware of it and there's a small competition pool, you can make the most out of it. So thanks for sharing that, and search what marketing automation is, or if you want to know more, get in touch with Minu and she'll help you out. Thank you so much for being a part of this,
No
Minu,
worries.
and thank you to all our viewers. I think there are over 20 live viewers on LinkedIn, which is a really good
Oh,
number. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
see you. Take care. Bye.